Hello, my name is Caitlin Wagamont. I'm going to talk about some of my artwork and my processes and what inspires me. Starting off with what inspires me when going through my art making decisions, I really enjoy the process and the act of making art. So if there's a prompt or an end goal, I will always choose a route that I might enjoy more than rather it being an easy route. That will include sometimes the medium, the topic, subject matter. So I always think about the process when deciding what I want to do for art. My interest also help when producing ideas. Whenever I have a block of how to choose what to make next, I always look to my interests. And then my family and friends are why I continue to do what I love. Their support and their encouragement is why I'm still doing art and why I can pursue it as well. Starting with meditate. I titled this work Meditate because I just remember throughout the process being very in my head, enjoying what I was seeing visually and moving my hands and interacting with the paint. This is 2 canvases put together to be about 4 feet by 5 feet-ish. I used acrylic paint and house paint, and then I put sand on some paint and dripped it. I started off with a study just on cardboard and just kind of getting used to the medium and also just how big of a canvas, how much big of a space I had. And then I moved on to the actual canvases and charcoal. As you can see, with each layer I'd build and add more color. I'd go back and start scraping off the paint as well, and also just building it up. Once I got comfortable to where I was at with the paint strokes and the colors and the dimension, I decided to add the sand then to the paint and then drip it. I had to get a consistency that would drip but then also keep its form. I also had this one moment on that picture on the right where I had knocked the canvas and it had slid because the top part had dried but not inside. So I had some fun moments like that. And then for this one, portrait, it's one out of a 3-part series. I continued after this because I enjoyed the process so much, but it's 24 by 36 inches. It's oil paint and a gloss medium. It was my first time working with any type of oil medium, and I quite enjoyed it. I started with this sketch on the left, and I enjoyed the mark making and also kind of the inflation of the pigment and mark making, because I started as a light gray and built it up into a black. So I applied that with this project where I would apply different colors, form new colors, overlap. It was a lot of medium and very little paint. The picture on the left is a detailed shot. You could see all those colors building on top of each other, where it would get more pigmented, where it would drip. I really enjoyed moments like that, and so I continued with this method with acrylic paint and acrylic gloss medium. As you can see in the next 2 pictures, those are 2 separate detail shots of 2 other paintings. This one canvas is my latest work. It was for an art final. It's 36 by 48 inches. It's gesso fabric and metal wire on wood frame. For this piece, I started with the study that you see on the left, where it's just a miniature version, getting used to the new materials that I was working with. And then on the right, I was just experimenting more with different options for the materials. To start, I made this wood frame, then I stretched some fabric, and then I bent some metal wires and created this type of form, and then I broke off sections out of this fabric that I then dipped into Mod Podge, completely soaked it, and then laid it down for it to dry and harden. Once I had that all dried and then gessoed it, I went back on where you could see the wire poking out and sanded it. I also added some different fabric for different textures. I went over and over again with more gesso, and then I went over with the gloss medium to make it shiny. Compared to my past work, those recent 3 artworks that I just talked about felt experimental for me, just like with the different materials and how I was applying them and how I was using them and how it all came out. And I really enjoyed it. It's some of my most work that I've enjoyed recently. So I plan to continue to experiment. I'm at the right place and time with being at school because I have the resources for that. And then since I've explored this new route in art making, I feel like it's also a good time to explore more career options, especially since this is my senior year. Thank you for listening.